Nurah Speaks is a weekly podcast that tugs at the soul and consciousness of the Black community. With show topics such as youth empowerment, education, women's impact, and civic engagement, Nurah Speaks challenges the listener to not only join the movement, but be the movement. On the show, you'll learn from insightful guests who have demonstrated capacity in these fields and more, and I'm your host, Nurah Muhammad. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of the Nurah Speaks podcast, and I am your host, Nurah Muhammad. I am so grateful and honored to be recording my 100th episode and celebrating my 2-year anniversary of the Nurah Speaks podcast. And even more than that, I am so blessed to be recording and celebrating with my two dear friends, Chabree Muhammad and Dr. Nicole Muhammad. And we are welcoming you to not just the 100th episode of the Nurah Speaks podcast, but also to episode 0 of a new show that we will be beginning in January 2020 called Lead, Teach, and Style. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. It's very exciting to be here again on the Nurah Speaks podcast. And I'm just looking forward to being a part of this 100th episode, this celebration.
Yes, thank you, Sister Nurah. This is very exciting. It's exciting to be here with you ladies. It's exciting to be on such a monumental show. So how's it for you?
I am excited. I just feel so blessed. And I use that word a lot. I use the word grateful a lot. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to overuse it, but I just feel so blessed and so fortunate. And I'm so thankful, not just to you both for being here and for being valued guests on the Nurah Speaks podcast, but I'm also grateful to the listeners who have been with me these last 2 years, these 100 episodes. And this has just been a remarkable journey.
Yes, ma'am.
It's so exciting. Thank you again for having us. Just 100 episodes. This is really, really monumental. It's been 2 years, as you said. Can you talk about, when you first started, what that first episode was like, and just some of the standout experiences that you've had over these past 2 years?
Well, thank you, Nicole, for asking that question. Some standout episodes. Certainly, I'll say the episode that I did with Chris Collins. Chris is the editor and founder of the Anointed News Journal, and Reverend Chris Collins, I should put a handle on that. He's the founder and editor of the Anointed News Journal. And, just the wisdom that he shared as a young Black man who grew up in, a typical fashion, nothing necessarily remarkable. No one, his teachers didn't say or notice anything remarkable about him, but he is doing remarkable things. And the idea that there is no impossibility, and just so many jewels and notes of wisdom that he shared. And I'm also grateful for the episode I did with Lenita Mitchell Blackwell. I wish I could remember the episode numbers, but the episode that I did with Lenita Mitchell Blackwell, and she too was just very insightful. She spoke as a leader, someone leading her team with her media group. Chabree, you're sitting here, and the 2 interviews that I did with you, you have such a remarkable handle on education and how you express that in such a intense and concentrated way. It's just very enlightening, opening my eyes up. And, my children are kind of nearing the end of their educational career, but to have you as a friend and companion in my journey of motherhood, and also to watch you in your expertise of education, that is so enlightening. And I really hope that listeners listen to each of those episodes, or if they haven't, they'll go back and listen, because there's just so much that we can get from it. And that really has been the purpose of Nurah Speaks, is to enlighten our community with people who are with ideas and with knowledge, and to have great guests like you all come on and to share what you're doing, and to give our community what I like to call the competing message.
Sister Nurah, I've listened to your episodes and you've had such great guests along the way. It's great to have those things archived so that we can go back and listen to them and learn from them. You're coloring on different topics throughout the year. The couple years that you've been hosting is just, it's awesome. It's good to hear your point of view on a lot of different things. What made you decide to begin the Nurah Speaks podcast?
Well, thank you. That is a wonderful question, Chabree. So I was encouraged to by mentors of mine, business mentors, and so one as an extension of the empowerment work that I do with young people, my LLC. I was encouraged to start a podcast to promote that work, and that's just one way you can promote what you do, promote your service or your product through a podcast. Podcasting is not that expensive. It's pretty inexpensive. And I thought, well, that's interesting. But I really wasn't, I didn't have that much motivation to do it. I thought it was a great idea. I love podcasts. But when other mentors, like my Minister Chabree Muhammad, and another mentor, Brother Nurah Muhammad, who was also a guest on the show, and he was a dynamic guest, and it was such a privilege to have had that brother, on my microphone, and he's always had me on his microphone. That was, that is such a beautiful highlight. But they encouraged me so that I can broaden the reach of the message that I do bring when I'm doing empowerment work with young people, when I'm doing empowerment work with young women. They encourage me. And, my minister always said, you're bigger than just a local messenger, if you will. Your work is broader than this city that we live in Camden, and the city that you're serving. And, I kind of hemmed and I hawed, and I went through, well, why me? Or who's going to listen to me? What makes me special enough? And then I said, well, wait, why not me? I have a great message. I am not sharing my own personal guidance. I'm guided. I'm sharing the guidance that I have, and the guidance that I have has led me to success. So let me share with my people what I think is relevant, appropriate, and necessary. And more than that, to create a platform for others who are sincerely doing impactful work. And as I say in the beginning of the opening, people who have demonstrated capacity. That's important to me, not just someone to come on the show because they want to promote themselves, but to promote the impact that they make and how they can encourage other people.
And I think it's so wonderful the way that you communicate the message. I know that you say that you are tugging at the soul and consciousness of the Black community, and that really comes across, as well as your love of Black people and wanting to see better for them in their lives, in their thinking, in their families. I'm curious what your feedback has been thus far over these couple of years from listeners and people who have, been touched by the podcast.
Well, I have received so much encouragement. Some of it has been public. Most of it has been private, where people will see me and say, man, I listened to such and such episode. Or I had someone say that he listens with his family in the car when they take long drives, and, they can listen to me and then have a family discussion. That's what this is for. When I, run into other Black women in my community who are working in the field of service, and if there's a particular issue, they say they need to listen to Nurah Speaks. So I get a lot of encouragement, and I get one-on-one feedback from people who are in kind of prominent circles, and and I let them know it's okay that you don't support me publicly, because we need you where you are, and we need to fight in all arenas at all levels, and I don't want you to compromise your position to advocate for us because you're sharing Nurah Speaks on your social media page. You know, just see me, give me a head nod and a smile, and that's good enough for me.
Yes. Sister Nurah, I've known you a long time, and I've noticed that you are a champion for other women, you know, in a time where we have so much jealous and envy and clout chasing, pretty much, right? You always seem to celebrate our people. And I've even seen where, you know, you're saying that people listen to your podcast, they recognize you, they may say something to you. Even someone has said to me once, I listened to you on Nurah Speaks podcast or the radio show. No, it wasn't the radio show. It was the podcast. They said, I listened to you on Nurah Speaks podcast. And it was a man, he put his hand up like, put it here, you know, give me 5. And he enjoyed it. How do you choose your guest?
Wow. That's a wonderful question. And I'm happy to answer that. As I said, the guests that I feature on Nurah Speaks are folks who I know have demonstrated capacity in their field. I've had people come to me and say, oh, I need to be on your podcast. And I thought, well, that's presumptuous. You know, but I choose people based on the contribution that I know that they're making. You can't, like I said, I don't want someone who's just going to promote their ego. I want you to promote the service that is being effective in helping our people. That's what I want to promote. And if you're the vehicle to that service, or if you're the voice of that service or that product, then we need to bring you and your voice to the studios so that we can amplify that to our people. One of my guests, Andrea Lawful Sanders, I really, I just admired her so much. She's just such a larger than life figure. And I've known her for many, many years. And she said to me one day, I met her through an organization that we were both affiliated with. And she said to me afterwards, she said, there's something about you. You and I need to have coffee. So maybe a month later, we met and had coffee. And we were talking, and she says, you know, I just feel at calm and at peace with you. You're going to do something. And I thought, okay. Okay, you know, I appreciated her support and what she thought she saw in me. And I started the podcast, and I thought, man, I can't wait to ask her to be on. But for me, it took my second year to invite her to be on the podcast because I didn't want her to, I wanted to show her that I was serious about what I'm doing. And, you know, some people start and stop, and they're flaky, you know. I wanted to show her that I'm not a flake and I'm very serious about what I'm doing and that I take her seriously. And so I felt that I needed to have a proof of a body of work before I invited her on, you know, because, of just what I think that she brings. And so, you know, I choose my guests based on the capacity that they're demonstrating, not just, you know, what you're talking about.
In doing this over the course of 2 years, you know, obviously that takes some degree of consistency. And, you know, what has that been like for you? Or has that been difficult at all? Is it just something within you that has led to this consistency? You know, have there been times where it's hard, where you're wondering if you are going to continue with the podcast at all?
That's never been a question, whether or not I would continue. Whether it was never a question that I would have a second year or a third year. I know that I say this with all humility, I know I have so much to share and that other people have so much to share. I just have to find them. You know, some of them I already know. And, you know, sometimes you have to let things simmer, if you will, before I bring them on. But the consistency, it takes discipline. It takes discipline and it takes commitment. And, you know, my commitment to my listeners, you know, that would exceed, I'm tired, do I record? You know, I've had a long week, do I record? My consistency, I'm asking listeners to come back and listen week after week or however you listen. You know, some people batch and listen in batches, and I do that sometimes. But I know that there are some shows I can go to that are there that I can listen to at my leisure whether I'm on the drive, whether I'm at work. And I believe that I owe it to my listeners to be consistent. And I owe it to guests who I have had on and that I have yet to invite to the show. I owe it to them to be consistent so that, again, they're not coming to something that is hit or miss or flaky. And, just being responsible with the message and being responsible with being consistent in producing the message, that really matters to me.
Yes. And you know what? Over the years, you had some great guests. And so we always get to walk away with learning about someone new and what kind of endeavors that they're taking on. However, all of your episodes are not interviews. And it's great to hear you because now we walk away with some knowledge. I love what you have to say on particular topics. You introduce new ideas to people who maybe haven't considered such ideas. Do you have any turns or what's coming next for Nurah Speaks?
Wow. What's coming next for Nurah Speaks? Well, I want to continue to have great guests on the show. One of my biggest goals is just to grow the audience. And I know that, audience growth, comes through consistency, networking. I heard recently a quote that networking beats advertising any day. So, through word of mouth and asking people who follow the show, who are interested, to share with their family and friends. That's why I always say, share with your family and friends. If there's something that you've heard that's of value to you, if it's valuable to you, you don't keep it to yourself, right? You share it with people who you value. So asking, listeners, guests to share the show with those who they value and those people who are in their networks and their circles. I'm interested in, there's a gentleman that has a boutique in Chicago. And, his boutique has been open, I think 3 or 4 years now, Legacy Men's Boutique. And I'm really eager to have him on the show to talk about that journey and why he opened that boutique to serve the community in that way, because it's not a vintage, but those are like gently used, clothes, but they're suits and they're dress shoes, and young men could go there for their job, to get ready for their job interviews or their college entrance, interviews. And although it's a business, it's still a service, and I'm really interested in people who are serving the community, just like, you, Chabree, through education, and, Dr. Nicole Muhammad, through fashion and trying to bring our women a different message about image and fashion and clothing and lifestyle. And so that's very exciting to me but I'm hoping to interview him in person. He's someone that's always behind the camera himself. So sometimes it's hard to get those people who are behind the camera in front of the camera or microphone.
Mm-hmm. I also wanted to follow up on something you mentioned earlier about the people who respond positively behind the scenes about the podcast. And, you say continue, and, you welcome that encouragement and for them to continue to do what they do. But I've noticed on the podcast, there seems to be no topic that you are avoiding. You are willing to talk about any topic that has an impact on the Black community. Now, what is it that gives you that sense of you will go anywhere? You will tackle any topic that comes to you that affects us.
Need. Our people need it. Our people need to hear the message that Nurah Speaks is resonating. So much of my life in the work that I do is to help solve a problem, the problems that we have. And I realize and I've recognized that we face so many problems because of what we don't know. And if I could be a vehicle, or if Nurah Speaks could be a vehicle to that knowledge, then I believe that I have to do it. I believe that it is my responsibility. People talk about their purpose and my passion but I believe that I am held responsible. If I have something that I know can benefit my neighbor, my sister, my brother, our children in our community, it is my responsibility to share it. And I want us to succeed, and we can't succeed not having the right information. So there are some subjects that, people have kind of come and leaned in close to me and said, yeah, I heard what you said. These people need to hear it, And I think, well, did you share it? Right. But and that's how I know that it's resonating. That's how I know that, people are appreciating what they're getting and what they're receiving. Even some of the clips that I might put on social media, they'll come to me, or maybe they'll message me directly on social media. But truth resonates, and when you are a recipient of the truth, you're responsible for sharing it.
I've only listened to podcasts when I started listening to it when I learned of people who I enjoyed seeing in person and knew what they were about when they began a podcast. So that was my introduction into, let me hear what she has to say weekly, because I know her. But now I see that the world of podcasting has really grown in the last several years. And even now they have the podcast award show that's coming on pretty soon. How do you think you will maintain integrity with commercialism? Podcast is now starting to reach a broader group of people. Will we be able to see the same integrity with Nurah Speaks if it becomes commercial? And I mean commercial just meaning in numbers, that so many people are pulling and tugging and having views on what they want to hear. You know how that happens to a quote unquote celebrity sometimes. They change who they are, change the integrity of the show. How will you maintain integrity?
Well, that's a great question. And podcasting is just growing by leaps and bounds. It really is. And I think it's kind of cool that they have they have a word show for everything else. So why not? What happens with people who kind of shift based on their sponsorships, based on the corporations that back them, that support them, that are promoting them, and people always want to go higher and higher and higher. So they're chasing clout. Some people are, and so they have to shift based on where they think they'll get that clout from. For me, I have to be honest with you, Chabree. I'm a Muslim. I'm a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. There's nothing greater than that for me. And, even I'm involved with my community politically, and people, ask me what are my political aspirations, or, what do you think about this office and that office? And wait, I occupy an office. I'm a Muslim. I'm a student and follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That is the office that to me is the pinnacle. So for me, if and when Nurah Speaks grows, I have found myself, I have found my people, and I have found the purpose of service. And I want the show to grow because the show is a show to serve our community. So the growth of the show is the growth of our community, right? And so that's how I believe I will maintain my integrity. I know who I am. I know the purpose of Nurah Speaks. Every time Nurah Speaks comes on, you hear the purpose of it. It's a tug at the soul and consciousness of the Black community. With that comes authenticity and accountability.
And we've talked a bit about the reactions of others and people in the community, but I'm curious to know what the feedback is at home. You know, the family is our basic unit of civilization, and you have a beautiful family. So do they listen to the podcast, your children? Do they give you thoughts on what they think about the show?
No.
They don't.
No. So as you know, I don't know if you know, I've had both of my sons on for Bring Your Son and Daughter to Work Day. So I had both of them on. I shared those episodes with my husband, and he's impressed with the ability for our children to express themselves the way that they do. And it just shows their growth and their maturity. And so that is exciting, and that's a highlight. But in general, and I'm okay with that.
They're teenagers.
They're teenagers. They see mom is building a studio. Mom has this project. But honestly, and without jest, I'm very supported at home, and I'm grateful. when I get new equipment, they are happy for me. When, I travel to a conference and they come with me, they're happy to be a part of that. But this is my journey. It's not theirs, but what I do is I always want to show them the purpose behind it, and I want to show them that whatever it is that you have a possibility, and it doesn't have to be limited because you've never done it before. So it's very exciting, and I'm grateful to be supported to do this at home. My husband has created a wonderful foundation of stability that is stable, and, have the stability. I have, children that are growing and that are supportive and even more appreciative, so I do get great support at home. They don't listen though.
Well, you know what, Sister Nurah, in my work, sometimes I have the awesome task of having to choose projects for older teenage children, choose books. And, it takes a lot of delving into because we want to make sure that we're giving them something appropriate from start to finish. Some books, they start off really good, and then at the end, oh no, I can't give them this to read, for a project. But I think now that podcasting is becoming so a new part of our technology that's growing so much, maybe that is something that we can infuse into our own schools, and learning the podcasting as well as listening to certain episodes, because our children will get knowledge from them, but also they'll learn how they work. And I think the Nurah Speaks podcast is an excellent place to begin.
Oh, well, thank you. I've thought about that too. Not just so that they can learn a skill, which is good, that can help them, pique interest into career in media or something like that. But because, the children that you're educating at the University of Islam just have so much to say, and they also need to be heard, so I want to thank you ladies for, kind of interviewing me, but I want to transition back into lead, teach, and style, and what we're going to do and what we seek to do with this brand new show. Listeners, you stay tuned for us. Again, we're going to be coming in January 2020. We will have a YouTube page. We will have a social media page. We will have email addresses and all of that for you then. But in the meantime, let's introduce, I guess, our reason of why we thought that this was necessary and appropriate.
Well, we've talked a lot about, issues in the community, and, you have Nurah Speaks podcast. Sister Chabree, you are an administrator, an educator with a phenomenal expertise in educating the Black child. I am, in addition to being a psychologist, fashion designer, and providing women with options of modest dress. So we are just coming together to bring all of our viewpoints, our experiences, to give Black women the alternative thinking, and just giving them information that we need to survive and thrive. We don't want to just exist as Black women. There's so much information and things that we've learned at, becoming Muslim women. And so fortunately that, Sister Chabree, you invited Sister Nurah. Sister Nurah invited me out. And, here we are as lead, teach, style. But it's because of what we've gained. We've gained so much from these teachings, from being Muslim women. But the information we have is universal. It can benefit women whether, you're Muslim or not. And we're just here to give our women an alternative option, an alternative way of thinking, and in order to help our communities and our families grow and be healthy. And as I said, to thrive, not just to exist.
Yes. And, based on the work that we all do, we are in touch with so many young women who don't have a foundation. They don't have a big sister. They don't have someone to guide them in the proper direction, or just a direction that would help their lives. A lot of our young women are suffering and they don't know why they're suffering, or sometimes they don't recognize that what they're doing is suffering. And life can be so much easier when you have a sister. Life could be so much easier when you have someone to help you and guide you along the way, so you don't have to take those bumps and bruises and make some of the mistakes. Life's going to be hard enough. It's hard enough with money. It's hard enough with a silver spoon. It's hard enough with blessings. However, there's so many things that are avoidable, and through the work that we all do, we come in contact with these ladies, and we've just decided, you know what, enough is enough. We have to share this these experiences that we have. We have to share this knowledge that we have. We have to go out there and help and save our sisters. Sometimes they may think that, they're learning something from off of this talk show or this teacher is teaching them properly. And the information is just, it's half good, but it won't help them with their true existence. They think maybe I should find religion, and maybe I should, get a group of girlfriends, and they come together with all of this knowledge, and it does not help them out of their condition. And we're sitting around watching them and saying, should we just tell them? Should we tell them that we used to be those girls? I know I used to be one of those girls. And I was just telling Sister Nicole earlier that I have a young teenage daughter now, and I have to share my story with her because she's had me all of her life, but she doesn't know she doesn't know where I came from. She doesn't know the woman that I had to grow to be. And I want to share with her now, as she's getting older, so that she'll understand what she has to offer to other young ladies, that she can take that knowledge that she has and help transform someone's life. When I was being courted into Islam, just like learning, being a young woman, someone said to me, one day you're going to have so many women follow you. Now I'm like, follow me where? I don't have anywhere to take anyone. But that just meant your life will, once you get pointed in the right direction and you have guidance and you have a sisterhood, that's all you need in life. And things will transform, but you have to share that with other young women who you see going in the wrong path, down the wrong path, or in the wrong direction, or just see that their choices aren't helping their lives. And we have so much to offer, and we know we have so much to offer because we are getting blessings from it. And being right isn't a bad thing. It isn't a negative thing. And sometimes it seems like a whole race of people have a monopoly on good living, and our people don't realize that they can live that way as well. That life does not have to be hard, but you have to make good choices, and you will be blessed for your choices. And so I think we talked about it, and we just came to the realization that we have to give this to our sisters.
Yeah, and just to be clear, and to reiterate that last point that you made to our sisters, this podcast or this show that we're creating, Lead, Teach, and Style, is for Black women, because we want to see better outcomes in the Black community. We want to see better outcomes for the Black family, Black children, Black men. And we know that starts with the education and the knowledge that a Black woman has. And so this is a wonderful opportunity. And, as I say, with Nurah Speaks, for me to have information or knowledge and to not share it, that would be criminal. That would be unjust to the people who don't have the knowledge that I have. It would be unjust to the people who don't have the wisdom that I have. So, when, the sisters and we talked and, we said we were going to, create this show, Lead, Teach, and Style. We were going to put it up on YouTube. We're going to have a podcast so that you can listen to it if you didn't want to watch it. We want to create an avenue for you to be a recipient of the truth from your sisters. And we have to provide the competing message. I say this often, there are a lot of people with the microphone, right? Some people need to have the mic snatched, right? But nobody's snatching mics. And since nobody's going to be snatching the mic, then we have to get a mic, and we have to use the mic to amplify a message that's going to positively impact our community.
Right. And because we know it, we have to share it. And that just gives, we have to let them know that they have choices. Just the fact of making different decisions. Sometimes we don't even know that we have a choice. We get stuck in our community of just these generational problems that we can stop with a decision. It's not something that we have to do. We don't have to be single mothers. We don't have to do everything on our own. We don't have to constantly struggle. There are things that we can do in our lives. Just make a different choice, make a better choice. Realize that we do need the family. That it's not a badge of honor to be a single mother. Just things that we can do to strengthen ourselves. Just to give us the notion that there is something that we can do differently to bring about better outcomes in our lives.
And if I could say too, it's going to be real talk. Lead teaching style is going to be real talk. It's not going to be raunchy talk. We're not going to sip and drink like some people do, but we're going to provide real conversations that may trigger you, that may excite you, that you may agree or disagree with. But you will also have the opportunity to send us emails and hit us up on social media for topic or show suggestions. We would be happy to have your feedback, whether you disagreed, whether you agreed, how what we said has impacted you. Did you apply it? Do you refuse to apply it? Do we need to put down? Do we need our mic snatch? Is that what you think? But we want to be engaging. We want you as the listener to engage with us. And we want it to be a program that amplifies a message that's going to positively impact our community. And I keep saying that positively impact our community because there's so much media. If it's coming across Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, television, YouTube, streaming, there's so much media that is soulless, that is heartless, and that does not promote health and wellness in the Black community. And so that's why I keep reiterating that what you're going to get is going to be something that positively impacts our community.
Yes, and I like the platform that we're using because the truth isn't always easy to swallow. And this way, our sisters, in giving them their sisterhood, they can do it in the privacy of their own home. They can do it with their earbuds on, they can check out different topics that may be related to them. And they can just grow from it. We may not be able to invite them out to some big convention because all of our sisters aren't convention attending people, right. They may not be able to go out to a temple or visit us or ever meet us, but they'll still be able to get the knowledge that we have to offer them. They'll get what they're looking for. They'll get an alternative to their auntie, to their grandmother, to their cousin, to what they see on television, where everyone is moving in one direction and they haven't heard any alternative. Like Dr. Nicole said, they don't know that there are other choices out there. And to be able to hear something different that may spark life into them, which we know it will, because it has happened to us. And we see it every single day. The women we come in contact, they stop us and say, will you talk to other women? Will you share this? Right. Or, I need you to talk to my friend from New York. Or I need you to talk to my cousin. She would love this, or she needs to hear this. Well, now you can just turn on YouTube, and listen to whatever, topic that is relative to you, or be able to listen to our view on certain things to just spark something to think about, an alternative message to think about.
You talked about sometimes the truth can be hard to swallow. So, we don't have to be so in your face, right? But I remember being a young woman and having my wig snatched by older, seasoned women who were schooling me on life. When I thought I knew a thing or two, these women let me know quickly and swiftly, you don't know a thing or two. Right. You need to sit down and listen. And I'm so glad I was obedient enough to sit down and listen. Well, now I have the opportunity, with the approval of those same women, to say, now go teach your sisters. It's just a wonderful thing.
Right. And it's an honor. It's a privilege to be in this position, to be able to share, what we've gained, and this information that can help Black women, because we know it's positively not only affected us, but it continues to do so. We continue to grow and thrive because of this. And, it's a conversation. We may not have women, we may not have an actual studio audience or women right there, but it's a conversation with Black women. We're not talking at women. We're not talking down. We have firsthand experience, of where we've come from because of, what the information that we've learned and that's been passed down. And we're just eager to pass it on to other women so that they can have other positive experiences and grow as well.
Yes. And you know what? And I don't want our people to be dismayed by thinking this is a guidance to religion.
Right.
That this is coming from a religious point of view. There's nothing religious about being a single mother, about being in generational welfare. Our people, like I said earlier, they struggle. And we want to get you out of the struggle. We want to show you that, guess what? You don't have to struggle. And if you do, it's temporary. Right. I was riding with a couple of teenagers recently, and a billboard was up because the news program was coming on that evening. And the billboard said, "Is college worth it?" And the two teenagers said, "What?" Like one is on their way. They're working towards this. And I said to them, "Don't you know that's your plan B?" And they said, "Plan B? College is right after high school. How's that my plan B?" Well, what is your goal? Is your goal to work a job, or is your goal to do something for yourself eventually? A lot of people who work a job want to one day be independent. So that is the goal. That is the plan. This is just going to help you, maybe pay a few bills while you're trying to build your future. And they were like, "Oh, my goodness." So I pointed out several people that they know and people who are famous that they have never met who did not go to college or finish it.
Right.
And guess what? They didn't need college for what they're doing. Sometimes there are so many gifts right down inside of you, but you've been taught by someone else that you need what they have, and they want you to pay for it when your jewels are right there within you. And I think with Lead, Teach, and Style, we're going to help them find out what their jewels are, or tap into them and help them bring them out. Maybe they've always been afraid,
right?
And hopefully we can help them remove that fear, share some stories with them, share some experiences with them that we've had, that we know of women who've had, and to let them know how to tap into their choices that aren't out there, but they're right within you.
That's right. That's wonderful. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about this opportunity. And like you said, you made a great point. Women do come up to us when we're together and when we're alone and saying, "I need you to talk to so-and-so. Do you have classes? Because you need my cousin." I was telling my sister the other day. And so like you said, this is an opportunity for us to share what it is that we have to share, and with a broader audience. And I'm very excited, and I'm grateful to have you two sisters and companions in this life, and to be as eager as I am. I'm not alone in this. I'm not I don't feel like an outcast. That I'm so excited and so jazzed up to go deliver some truth to our people. Go share this love with our sisters. I know you both share the same energy, so I'm grateful, and I want to thank you both again for joining me in episode 100, celebrating my 2-year anniversary of Nurah Speaks. This has just been overwhelming. As you go, okay, so you're at 51, you're at 63, and you see those numbers are ticking on, but to kind of be perched and looking back over a body of work, even in the short 2 years, this is just really remarkable. And to have you both support me in my journey, as you are each in your journeys, and then to come together in this partnership is really special.
Yes. It's a pleasure to be a part of it. And Sister Nurah, we just been watching you doing your thing. You've made something wonderful out of your podcast show. It's an amazing show. It has a show with integrity. It's classy. And, I wish you many more years.
Thank you. Thank you.
And this is 100, and we look forward to 200 and 300. And It's an honor, really. It's really an honor to be here. It's such a quality program, and it's somewhere we can go and always get something. I can always take something from it, take something new. And the way that you're able to communicate this information to our community is really phenomenal. And, it's something we just can encourage you to continue to do.
Yes.
Well, I thank you both for being here. Thank you for joining me in the studios for this episode. And, for my listeners, this will be the conclusion of new episodes for 2019. I'm going to, take a few weeks to get some work done, get some more work done, make some preparations, lay some foundations. And, you can look forward to Nurah Speaks coming back in 2020, strong, profound, I hope, with wonderful and interesting guests. And also, we'll be coming back with lead teaching style. So stay tuned for more information about that. This has definitely been a privilege, ladies. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you, Sister Nurah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Nurah Speaks podcast. Be on the lookout for a new episode coming at you fresh next week. And as always, if you want to learn more about me and the work that I do, visit my website, NurahMuhammad.com. Or if you have a listener question, email me at info@NurahSpeaks.com. You can also follow the Nurah Speaks podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nurah Speaks Podcast. I'll be sure to include links in the show notes. If this show has value to you, please subscribe, rate, and review, and share it with family and friends. And be sure to check out previous episodes. And remember, don't just join the movement, be the movement. Stay in peace.